Why did you change the Wi-Fi password? Tyler yelled at me in front of Claire, like I owed him an office space. Because I pay for it, I answered coldly. His voice snagged midair like he'd been slapped in public. After that, he couldn't sit still in the living room, failed to enter the password 3 times, face turning red like a thief caught in broad daylight. Claire stood beside him, silent, handing his jacket back to him. Tyler left so fast his shoelaces weren't even tied. When he glanced back at me, his eyes were panicked, like he finally realized this wasn't his satellite office, but someone else's boundary he'd been dancing on. And I just closed the door and turned the lock. His muffled curse and the slammed door became the last traces he left in this apartment. After I cut Tyler's Wi-Fi that day, Tyler shut his laptop. I have a meeting in the morning. How am I supposed to work without Wi-Fi? I took a deep breath. Tyler, you're not a tenant here. The moment the words fell, the air in the living room hardened. Claire and I had been living in this 2-bedroom for over a year. She was quiet, gentle, the type who remembers your birthday. At first, we got along great, weekends making pasta, drinking wine, watching low-budget documentaries. A relaxed adult friendship. When Tyler first showed up, I didn't mind. He didn't come often, and he was polite enough. But 6 months later, his body started showing up on our couch more often than Claire did. At 8:30 a.m. when I left for work, he'd already be there in sweatpants in a meeting. When I came home at night, he was barefoot in the living room watching YouTube, stomping so loud the wooden floor cracked like kindling. More unwashed coffee mugs showed up in the kitchen. The eggs, yogurt, even the small jar of blueberry jam I treasured, always mysteriously missing. Worst of all, I had never signed a lease with him. I brought it up once. Claire, he's been here a lot lately. She didn't even look up. His Wi-Fi is bad at home. And you're not here during the day, so it doesn't affect you, right? That doesn't affect you, right? Smashed into my head like a hammer. I swallowed it for a month. Every day coming home to see him running his company branch office in our living room, I repeated silently, "This is my home. I'm paying rent." Until one day he yelled, "Let's touch base again later on Zoom," loud enough to shake my bedroom wall, and I felt my personal space being violated beyond repair. That night I opened the router settings, wiped the password field clean, typed in a new one. An odd calm sliding down my chest. Silence returned. The next day Claire texted me, "You changed the Wi-Fi? Tyler can't connect." I replied, "Yeah, just reset it." 10 minutes later my phone lit up. "You're being controlling. He's just using it for work. You're making him uncomfortable." I stood by the window, staring at the brick wall across the street. "Claire, he doesn't live here." She paused for 3 seconds, then hung up. For the next 3 days we barely spoke. Those 3 days were like a rubber band stretched to the brink. When I cooked, I half expected Tyler to burst out complaining, "Can you be quieter?" I started recalling earlier micro-invasions, things I'd ignored but now felt sharper in hindsight. Like the first day he worked here, used my mug for coffee, then casually commented, "Your mug is too small. You should get a bigger one." As if I were some intern, not someone living in my own home. Or the night he cut off the documentary I was watching and paired his Bluetooth instead. I watched the screen go black. His explanation, "I thought you wouldn't mind." Claire giggled beside him, saying, "You two are funny." Back then I didn't push back. But now I know nothing about that was funny. It was me shrinking, adjusting, letting space retreat, until I couldn't ignore the upward trajectory anymore. That night, I opened my laptop and created a spreadsheet. Title, Shared Resources and Space Usage Record. Soft name, Sharp Contents. I listed every resource in the apartment: electricity, water, coffee, cleaning supplies, kitchen hours, living room occupancy, even Wi-Fi data usage. I recorded averages, peaks, frequencies like drafting an annual project report. I even added a spatial pressure index, rated 1 to 5. Numbers don't lie. And I needed numbers. The next day, I placed the printed sheet on the kitchen table with a sticky note. To help us all live comfortably, I organized some things. Hope it helps keep things balanced. Smiley face. That smiley face was my only weapon. When I came home that night, Claire was sitting at the table staring at the sheet like it was a riddle with no answer. After a long time, she lifted her head, voice softer than the past few days. "This is a lot." I answered calmly. "I don't mean anything else. I just want things to be clear and fair." She fell silent, then nodded. "Maybe it has been unbalanced." The next day she texted, "I talked to Tyler. He'll work at a friend's place for a few days. And he'll pitch in for coffee." When I read it, I didn't feel happy or triumphant. Just a long-lost sense of relief. But I knew this wasn't over. To prevent Tyler from expanding his territory again, I did one more thing. Asked the building manager, "What if a non-tenant stays over half a month?" He checked his log. "They must be added to the lease. Otherwise, it's a violation." I forwarded that to Claire neutrally. I could practically hear reality dropping on her end. "I understand. Thanks." That thanks carried more weight than any argument. After that, Tyler's presence dropped to nearly zero. When he did show up, he was suddenly careful. No shoes tossed at the door. No sprawling office set up on the couch. No mindless raiding of my fridge. Once I came out of my room and saw him trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. 2 failed attempts. He looked up at me, uneasy for the first time. "You changed the password?" "Yeah," I said. "I change it regularly. It's a security habit." His mouth twitched. In that moment, I felt him realize this space was no longer his to manipulate. Revenge is never yelling or fighting back. Real revenge is making the other person realize they can no longer cross your boundaries, making them stumble within your rules. A few weeks later, they broke up. One night, Claire sat on the living room floor with a cup of tea and whispered, "He wasn't good with boundaries in other areas either." I just kept pretending I didn't see it. Her eyes were a little red. "Thank you for reminding me." I nodded. A month later, she got a job in another state. The night before she left, she hugged me tightly. "Thank you for standing your ground. You were right. I just didn't want to hear it then." After she moved out, the first thing I did was rearrange the living room, move the sofa back, clean the coffee table, added new plants in the corners, new mugs, new candles, new Wi-Fi password. The password changed, but the meaning didn't. This is my boundary. Now the morning light streams in from the kitchen, and the only thing in the air is the smell of coffee. No outside pressure, no invisible tension. I sit on my sofa, hear the wind outside, and finally feel this place belongs to me. And all of this led me to understand one simple truth. When someone calls you controlling, it often means you finally started protecting yourself.